Maybe he believes that that's the way to get elected in this town, that you have to join the team in order to become a part of the team. You can't have your own independent mind. I'm sure that that's what he believes. But they did not select him anyway. But from what I understand, he could still get on the ballot because there's a primary, and he can be put on the ballot anyway. But he's not being endorsed by the Democratic Committee.
So last time, he ran as an independent.
Yeah.
My name is Kurt Kiley, and with great pleasure I announce I'm running for Maplewood Township Committee as an independent.
What are you reading, an older press release of his? Yeah. What was the date on that one?
This is November, I don't have a date on this.
Because he ran, we were out there looking at people in the fall. We met him, right? That's how I met him at that time.
I like Kurt.
And, at every meeting that, mostly neighborhood or black people in him, he's the only guy in the room.
I really like Kurt. And I really would have liked Kurt to stick with it and say, you know what, man? I've decided I'm going to be an independent. I'm going to continue down that road of independent, and I'm going to work harder to garner votes this year.
Well, what was shared with me was that I looked it up. I Googled him, and I ran into these Maplewood Online discussions. Mm-hmm. And in the discussions, people were saying, who is this guy? Where did he come from? And what makes him, qualified? Mm-hmm. So there's this very strong machine that people seem to believe in. But
the Democratic machine.
Yeah. That people believe in and, feel that they need the backing of. And once the machine backs you, then the other members of the community may indeed back you. So, and then they were pretty much like blasting him. He had one or two people on that message board, defending him. But for the most part, they were like, who are you? And they were like, well, I'm a concerned resident. And you're like, so am I. What's the big deal? Well, so he felt, I guess, in order to be, I don't want to say justified, but, qualified. That's not the word either. Dignified. That's not the word either. But, in order to be legitimate, there's what I'm looking for. He had to be part of get the endorsement from the Democratic Committee. And they indeed selected Nancy Adams.
No, I think what you're talking about, I'm on Summit, New Jersey Forum.
No, you want to be on Maplewood Online. You see something there?
Yeah, this might be a portion of the Maplewood Online, but it says summitnewjersey.net message board. Who is Kurt Kiley? I just read in a patch that a person by the name of Kurt Kiley has announced his candidacy as an independent running for the Township Committee in November's election. The article stated that he has lived in town for about 2 years, but make no mention of having involvement in local community organization. Does anyone know what contribution and involvement, if any, he has made to the town or to date? And then it goes on to say, I support Kurt Kiley in his bid for a seat on the Township Committee. In the past few months, he has brought me kicking and screaming to the realization that we all, one way or another, have a responsibility, an actual hands-on civic responsibility. Resolvability.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
To make our town a better place. I have seen dedication. I've seen his dedication and his energy. He will be more than well suited to represent us all in these times of change. You have the power, exercise it for the good of the town. Elect Kurt Kiley.
But then here we got Hank Zona saying, with all due respect, author, you have lived here many years, haven't you? Are you just realizing we all have hands and civic responsibility? Mr. Kiley loses me at this sentence. As an independent, I am not constrained by political dogma. I will make decisions based on what's best for Maplewood, not for a party. I am hard-pressed to think of decisions the Township Committee has made that were dictated by the demands of political dogma. If he means core beliefs, then yes, the Township Committee has made decisions based on that. Marriage equality is one that comes to mind.
See, that's why I was kind of surprised that he decided that he wanted to go now and become a run on the Democratic ticket.
Again?
So that means to say,
in my interview with him, I'll just say I interviewed him. He said to me that, in order to be legitimate in this town, you have to be part of that committee.
No, you don't. Then you're being a social conformist.
Yeah, and then I guess in order for him, see, there you go. He felt that in order for him to win, he had to conform.
You see? Then
to the norm.
Then that's part of the problem.
Well, then,
Joanna Wright didn't conform to the norm.
You know, she
didn't run on no ticket with no one.
The ultimate, I don't want to say hero or shero, but example of how you could do yourself.
Yes.
And still
win.
And yet, not only just win,
finish
but
in
come
second
out
place.
and come out actually more powerful in the end.
Exactly. She finished with the second most vote in the Board of Education election.
And then on top of that, now is the second vice president.
Yes.
And has, wields power.
You see, that
right
is,
there on the board.
That's why I'm kind of surprised at Kurt Kiley. I thought he would have said, you know what, man? I've been in this. This is my third go wrong. You know what? I'm going to stick it out as an independent. Or it just shows you how bad you really want to be on the township committee, and it has nothing to do with your ideology. Mm-hmm. It's not your ideology. It's more of I want to be elected. It doesn't matter how I do that.
And he was also
and that's disappointing.
Influenced by someone else who he said told him that in order to get elected, you should go serve on one of these committees, be at the planning board, blah blah blah, for 10 years, and then maybe after that,
yeah, right.
You might get elected.
Yeah, right. So he's not the best candidate. You got to go and serve on a board. You got to go and be, you got to go and pick some cherries.
Have you ever noticed how things operate in this town? People get up, even at Board of Ed meetings, which seem to be a lot more exciting than township committee meetings.
It is, man.
And they get up and say, I've lived here for 20 years. Everybody's got to say how long they've lived here. Mm. I'm the doctor of such and such.
I'm not involved in anything.
No, and I served on the PTA. I mean, you even do. Everyone's got to pull out their credentials of what they did. You can't be someone who's like, I can add to the discussion. I can, create relevant questions. And so in a way, people want, I worked with the Coalition on Race and, Project Achieve and, I did this for the Y, and I'm also a member of Rent Party. So if you say you're all of those things, and you've been on the planning board, and you helped with this and that, then my friend, you will get some legitimacy.
So what that means is that
you can't.
I have credentials that I could run for the Mayport Township Committee then.
Oh, God. See how you are? Yes, you
no,
have.
I'm just asking.
Look, you have credentials and some obviously to run anywhere, okay?
Not my not my running credentials.
But, you to say that you have all these credentials or you've had all this experience working with others, just like when you think you want to run for the board, people ask, well, were you ever a member of the PTA? Were you, these are the kind of questions. Did you ever do this? Did you, work with Project Achieve?
What being in the PTA
I don't
qualifies
know because
you to be a township committee member?
Well, okay, listen. Think about this. So here I'm, working every day, going to work in New York somewhere, leaving the house, and you get home 3-4 o'clock. But then when you have important meetings, be it with this board or that board, they're at 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Or at 11 when all those working blokes are out there busting their neck, to pay for their homes. You're getting a check. Mm-hmm. But there are those of us in the community who have the time and the resource to be at home and go to board meetings that are 7 in the morning on Tuesday. So you have to be able to have the leisure and luxury to do that. In addition to that, have the resources on your own to do that because you don't get paid for any of these political positions.
And you know what? I think they should pay members of the Mayport Township Committee.
Well, then we would all be bitching. Raising Cain about the taxes because the taxes are going to those people. But in order to run or to be a part of it, more so to be a part of it, you must have some kind of stream of income.
They should be paid. What do you think?
In a way, I don't think you should, and then in a way, I think you should.
So you think you should just give up yourself because you love your community that much? and you just give of yourself. It's like
Well,
the
if
Maple Township
you
Committee
gave
is a
everybody
charitable
60,
organization.
70, you'd have to probably give them at least what the median income is here, and I think that's like 98 or something. So you have to pay everybody at least 98 for doing that because you got to live in the town, right? So then you've got 6, 7 people. You're up to like $1 million just paying. Or is it $100,000? No, $1 million. Yeah. $1 million to pay people to do their job. Like police commissioner or, chief dog catcher, if we even have one of those anymore. And, it's... But otherwise, you load it, you own some buildings, and you get to link. So either way, it's seems kind of corrupting. So I guess, look at this. This thread began with Kylie presenting himself as a candidate and spun out to at least staying in the realm or more or less of politics. However, as respected, I've sit and worked side by side with him for hundreds of hours. How many can claim that I am not his campaign manager and continue? So I think that these threads on Maplewood Online, influenced his decision to go with the Democratic committee. And
John Harvey said something. You know John Harvey, right?
No, who's John Harvey? I might have met this.
He's
person.
the guy with the post office, the post office group. How am I forgetting the name of that group? I'm going to call it. John Harvey said, I met Kurt only a couple of months ago as we were forming what has become Engage Maplewood. That's the organization in Maplewood who basically put that post office issue on the front burner. They did a good job. I've been trying to get that guy in for the longest while, but I guess, maybe he feels the same way about me that Victor Luca feels. I found Kurt to be motivated, intelligent, committed, and caring. However, while we are for political action, it's important to distinguish to avoid misinterpretation of our purpose, increased transparency, proactive sharing of information, and local government that fully engage the community to arrive at the most effective solution. Engage Maplewood does not and will not support individual political candidates. About a month ago, Kurt let us, Engage Maplewood, know that he intended to run for the Township Council, which created a dilemma as a new organization. The decision was made easier for Kurt and Engage Maplewood to part ways and move down separate paths based on our mutual commitment to the purpose of Engage Maplewood. So I guess he was part of Engage Maplewood.
Yes. But then somebody pulled up, and I'm looking at August 9th, where it says John Harvey said, and they used the quote, on a personal note, I do not believe a long history of civic responsibility in Maplewood is a prerequisite for a
I agree with that.
Township council candidate or member. And then somebody wrote, and I do, and it is township committee, not council. Frankly, I do not like someone blowing into town, not doing much of anything for the community, and thinking he knows how to run the place. See? I mean, and I guess those kind of, comments said, okay, well, let me go get with the big dogs and try to, run. And the big dog said no. So the question is he going to go ahead? Now, from what I understand about this process, even if you don't get selected by them,
you could be independent.
You could still, but I think you could still run as a Democrat in the primary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not because they didn't select you means to say that you can't run.
So they're just endorsing you.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah, they're not endorsing. Time check. The time is approximately 8:30 p.m. That time check is brought to you by Nokia Home Improvements for all your general construction and remodeling job. Nokia Home Improvements, no job is too small. You can call them at 973-592-8493. That's 973-592-8493. When we come back, more local news.
The Strollers present Fuddy Mears, a dark, absurdist farce about all that is imperfect and flawed in the human condition. Come see it at the Bergdorf Center for the Performing Arts on 10 Durand Road in Maplewood. Friday and Saturday performances are on March 6th, 7th, 13th, and 14th at 8 p.m., with a Sunday matinee on March 8th at 2 p.m. Visit thestrollers.org for tickets and details. Don't stay at home. Come play with the Strollers.
Are you looking for a professional logo design for your website, brand, or business? Then we are the company